Wait.
It's in the budget next season, Vivi.
It's Vivi, Laura, and Crystal, back with the unfiltered talks in aesthetics. Today, we're going to talk about multimodality enhancements and when we would refer out for a facelift.
There we go. All right. So today you did it. You did it. Today we're talking about multimodality beauty. Basically, as injectors, when we have to tell people to refer to a surgeon friend, when we can talk about realistic expectations, and when we talk about lifestyle. So Laura, you take it away.
So multimodality means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Right.
Some people, that's just depending on what they offer, skincare and maybe a little bit of Botox. Some other offices that are loaded with lasers could be skincare, lasers, natural enhancements like biostimulators, Radiesse, and Sculptor, which we all use here.
So she just mentioned, 6 modalities?
Yeah.
Like Radiesse, that's a modality. Tox, that's a modality. Like
Filler, Sculptra, that's
it's a mode of anti-aging.
Yeah. So we love all of that.
Yes. So we are here to basically help preserve and maybe prolong your facelift journey, right? Because a lot of patients don't want to do a facelift immediately. They're scared to go under the knife, anesthesia. There's a lot of complications that could possibly go on. There's a lot of risk.
Or it's just not something they would ever do.
Exactly. So where do we draw the line of saying, hey, we can keep doing this, we can keep doing this, laser, skincare,
Working with it.
When is it enough, right? When is it time to say, hey,
I can't help you anymore.
you're looking a little distorted, there's no more I can do, and it's time for you to do surgery? Or even before that, they sit in your chair and they want all these things done, but they're about to spend $20,000 on injectables over a 5-year plan. And it's like, no, just go get a facelift instead. You're going to be way happier. You're going to have longer results.
I agree with that if they're fighting a certain type of laxity and that is their only goal.
Correct.
Like that, we got to cut it out, sew it tight. You're good.
So what type of laxity would you consider is, hey, nope, sorry, can't do this for you in office?
I feel like I just talk about it. Like first of all, I show internal photos often where I'll say like this patient underwent 7 Silfirms over a 2-year period. They look almost surgical, but this in person, when they turn, their neck is still loose, like everybody's. Like there's certain tightness that you're only going to get from a surgery. But that to me is, I put it on them. Like here's the expectation of this treatment that you're here for in my office. If you are looking and going like this and pulling, I'm going to say that is surgery.
If you're doing this, can you
I just want to like this.
Or
Pulling it
can't
back.
do that.
Well, the only thing that does that is cutting your skin and pulling it.
And even with threads, because I am a thread provider, so I'm very careful to say, you won't look like this, you look like this.
Exactly. You just pull. I always underestimate. I'm like, you're going to get 50% improvement. Are you happy with that? And it's only going to last you maybe 3 months. Are you okay with that? You're about to spend this much money with that. Are you okay with that?
But I believe in consistency. Like we
100%.
call it non-surgical blepharoplasties, where if I'm telling you, if you do 8 Silfirms to the lid, I can go all the way to the lid line, which is an RF microneedling device. I can get you at least a 60% improvement in
Same with the CO2
true
laser.
laxity. True laxity. If you have a hooded brow and your issue is height, I can't do anything. And that's assessment as a provider. So if I can't look at
bringing the patient back down to earth.
back down to earth. I can't tell everyone I'm going to give you a non-surgical blepharoplasty result. But if you have laxity that's true laxity and not hooding of your actual location of your brow, that's different. So I think that's just an astute provider, and you get good about guiding your patients.
Yeah. When I have my patients and I sit down for a consultation, I always, and they've never done anything. Let's say we're talking mid-50s, never done anything. I always ask them, is surgery an option for you? Yeah. And if
That's
they
a really
tell,
good question to start with.
because I was like, is surgery an option for you? And if they say yes, I said, well, I would highly encourage you to consider going to get consultations to a facelift, right? Because one, you're going to save money long-term wise. It's going to buy you 15, 20 years. And they're like, well, I'm a little too young for it. I said, aging and your genetics doesn't care about your age. You can be 40 years old and you need a facelift. You can be 70 years old and never need a facelift, right?
Because 34. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, your genetics plays a huge part in your lifestyle. So if I am recommending for you to go get a facelift, it's because I'm looking out for you. Yeah. If I am trying to sell you on all these other things,
they're not going to be happy.
I would be doing a disservice to you.
And it's also not good to just stop someone and be like, you will never find that. Goodbye.
Yes. Correct. So, but I always tell them you will still always need injectables.
Yes.
Because
and skincare.
correct.
And lasers.
Because facelifts will only reposition the skin, reposition the tissue, but it's not going to fill in volume, obviously, unless you get fat grafting with it too. But you will always still need a little bit of filler to kind of polish everything out. You'll always still need Botox if you want to get rid of your wrinkles, and you'll still need lasers and medical grade products. So,
and a lot of surgeons will do a laser while the patient's under. And why do you think they're doing it? Like, lasers are not just us.
That you need the tox, because you mentioned all these things, but the reason why you need the tox is because unless you're doing like a smaz facelift, which even then we don't really, we do tox a lot of the lower face, but we're not really pulling the forehead back with surgery.
I mean, some surgeons will do it if they don't want to do Botox anymore. They'll sever all that muscle, and it doesn't work.
True, yeah. Which
So it really
I don't see
depends.
that often, though.
No.
That's very rare. So you still need tox to stop that muscle movement.
Correct.
You need skincare to help produce collagen and elastin. You need lasers to help keep that kind of nice glow. Right. All of that stuff.
But, and a lot of patients are always scared because we push a lot of biostimulators, right, to kind of stimulate your collagen. And then you have patients who are like, oh, well, TikTok doctors or plastic surgeons or whatever are saying I can't ever get a facelift if I get Sculptra. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I have a lot.
I think I have different.
My own.
So
yeah,
you go first.
So there's actually a movement on Instagram or whatever socials you use. Plastic surgeons themselves are debunking other plastic surgeons, saying because there's plastic surgeons that are so cut happy and doing, I know you mentioned ages, 30s and 40s. Yes, some 40-year-olds might need it, but it's very rare. If you're 30 and your surgeon is okay doing a facelift on you, unless you truly need it. If you have like an autoimmune disorder, or you're like some weird genetic disorder.
Lost a ton of weight.
That's a really good one. Then your plastic surgeon is doing you a disservice by offering you at this age a facelift. So, and telling you, scaring you into the other stuff, like you can't do Radiesse, you can't do Sculptra, which are these biostimulators that work kind of in different layers of the face to help stimulate that collagen and elastin rejuvenation. Yes, it might have a little scar tissue, but it's not from the actual product. It's probably more so from the needle and the cannula, but you'll have scar tissue after a facelift too.
Well, I think it comes down to frequency on this one. Like if somebody is going once, 2, 3 times a year and getting threads, and they're also getting injected Sculptra, and they're also doing fillers, and they're also doing whatever, and who knows if they're doing lasers, that tissue can become friable, which I think is where surgeons get.
I think the scar tissue is the only thing I agree with them on.
And that's what it causes. I mean, it does. So it's like.
But that's good sometimes. But scar tissue is a good thing.
That is excessive.
Yes. But that doesn't mean that you can't have it done. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult for the surgeon because it's not going to be fresh, pliable tissue. There's just going to be a little bit more fibrous tissue there, which makes it a little bit harder. Maybe.
I also don't know if I agree with the word hard. And I don't agree with the slowing down the healing either. That's just me. Healing comes, I personally think, from within, and maybe the way the surgeon, depending on what plane of tissue they're in. But in terms of scar tissue making it harder, they have a knife. They have a Bovie.
I know.
Right. But when they go to reconnect that tissue,
this is what people are saying.
If that tissue is friable and you go to reconnect it tight, you are going to either rip it and the patient's going to have wound vacs and they're going to have bulbs, or you're going to not have as tight of a result.
But friable is different. I don't think friable and scar tissue kind of really go hand in hand. I think friable is just older in age. The worse your skin is quality versus scar tissue, which you're creating just from trauma to the skin.
And again, this is someone, I worked for a surgeon, so I have who had this issue, and it's not that he said I will not do a facelift on someone who did Sculptra, but what he explained to me was Sculptra, if this person, their whole career of anti-aging for the next, say they're 65 and they've been doing this for 30 years, and they're getting Sculptra injected only, that's all they're doing. This product is mainly promoting the production of collagen 1. Collagen 1 is the thickener of our skin.
Yeah.
But collagen 3 helps with organization. And then elastin helps with stretch. So although Sculptra does have a little bit of those at play, it is mainly a booster for your collagen 1, which is the biggest form of collagen. If you are spending most of your career or only in your career of anti-aging doing only a collagen 1 stimulator, your tissue could become friable.
That is
from that disorganized collagen over years.
Well, that's why you have to go into multimodality.
Just to play devil's advocate.
Yes, no, which I understand, right?
But and that's fair.
Yeah, but that's why the multimodality is super important, right? Because if you are a person that's like, I want sculpture, I'm like, okay, we've already done, 3 years of your yearly sculpture. We need to do something else. We need to kind of help with the ecosystem, right? Because
and that's why I love Radiesse, because it is more pan.
It's 1
stimulation.
Yeah.
139. It's quite a bit. So I think that's the key, is like sculpture is not bad, but if they're only doing sculpture and they had a great result and they're going to someone who's letting them just keep doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they're getting puffy and overfilled and their tissue's getting gross, for lack of a scientific word, that facelift will be difficult.
You're right. And
that's an extreme case.
I have been in on facelifts before, and I've been on ones who have exactly what you just said, a ton of Sculptra plus Radiesse. I don't know many people that just do Sculptra these days, right? Before, I think it was a thing because it wasn't as popular to do both. But and it was not harder. It was just, and I don't think we had really issues with friable tissue. I just think the cutting, but again,
the cutting gets a little bit different. Yes.
Maybe difficult, but again, if you have a plastic surgeon that's seasoned in that and knows, which mostly all of them do, I would hope, the plane of tissue, exactly where to cut, where to bovie versus where the vasculature is, it's you still get a beautiful result. So,
but either way, the lesson is, get your yearly Sculptra, but also get your series of RF microneedling or lasers, and get your skin pens every few months.
Whatever we recommend based off of what we see.
Whatever your
just
budget
listen to our recommendations.
Yeah. Just make sure you're doing collagen producing device treatments. That's my best advice. And then you can do really anything because your skin is strong.
And another thing too is this regenerative biostimulators is new. So when you have surgeons who are a little bit more old school, right? And, it's a little bit difficult because they're like, oh, this is a new wave of all of these patients who have gotten all these treatments and things, non-surgical treatments. Now they're kind of having to not change the way, but, adapt to what is happening. Sure. Whereas like when you have like your younger surgeons who are kind of involved and more adaptable,
and
they're
this is
the
reality
ones
for them.
Yes, exactly. So they're like, all right, well, this is what's happening. We're going to make it work, right?
And also, what's your assessment? Like, did you assess this patient's skin and make sure that they haven't overconsumed and become friable or whatever the tissue becomes? That's all part of their job and their pre-intake.
Friable, we keep saying that word. I don't know if we specified what it meant. Just means, go ahead.
So, certain treatments you do to the skin, it can turn it into a more of a mush, or it can become more easy to cut, easy to damage, harder to heal.
But I also don't want to scare the audience thinking that Sculptra causes that.
But that's not what we said.
Yeah, okay.
We said if you are getting excessive amounts of only Sculptra, that is likely where the root of, because I like to show my patients the root, the RF microneedling debacle. Like, there is truth to it. People are getting hurt with RF microneedling. Sure. They're not getting hurt with my RF microneedling device.
User error and device.
User error.
If you're getting not an FDA approved or cleared device.
I guess that's true. You could have my Silpherm in the wrong hands and you could hurt someone. So it's powerful technology.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
So when my patients are getting ready or they want to do a facelift consultation, I actually tell them no injectables for 6 months.
I say to ask the surgeon what.
So that's me. That's usually typical where they're like, hey, we don't want filler in your face. We don't want you to do. Some will say
fair though.
They don't want filler. They don't want biostimulators. So I always ask them, if surgery is an option for you, when do you plan on doing it? Are you planning on doing it in the next 5 years, or are you planning on doing it next year? Right. Then if you're telling me next year, then I'm going to say, okay, then we're going to focus on Botox, skincare, and laser, because your surgeon will be so much happier with you and me because I've prepped your skin.
Correct.
So you're going to have a much better result versus if you are like, hey, let's do my facelift in 5 years, then we'll do your injectables until you're getting ready to do your facelift. Then we stop at your X month mark based on what your surgeon's recommendations are. So we always encourage, or I specifically encourage my patients to, whoever you're deciding to choose as your surgeon, ask them, when do you want me to stop my injectables? and you just rely it to me. And then I'm like, okay, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, we all work in conjunction.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
It's like that with the
to.
noses. I usually tell, like, if you are planning to get a rhinoplasty, I ask all of my noses. And then I just tell them, like, some doctors say 6 months, some doctors say a year. I had someone last month come back and my surgeon was like, I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just dissolve it at the beginning of the procedure. And I'm like, oh, okay.
They can literally open up that tissue.
Yeah. So
Stick
like,
the Hylenex into that filler or scoop it out. You know what I mean?
And every surgeon has what they want to do. And every surgeon is going to be specific on what they want to do. So whoever you choose, ask them how they want you
everyone
to be prepared.
practices differently.
Yeah.
This is medicine.
Correct.
So we were moving on to kind of comparing Sculptra versus Radiesse, which are kind of the two leaders in biostimulation. I love them both. I use them both.
Which one do you like more?
For the reasons aforementioned, I love Sculptra. Sorry, baby girl. But I like Radiesse for the pan stimulation. I like that it creates a little bit more of that
Volume
result.
too.
The volume, and it's also a filler. So, however, I often will do like a Sculptra vial in like the temples and upper face to give a little bit of stimulation behind the hairline and in the temples. And then I'll use Radiesse in the jawline in the same visit.
Yeah.
So it really just, as long as they're not
Radiesse
touching.
has more structures.
Right. And so as long as they're not touching, I think using the right product, like that patient was like, I can't spend 4 syringes on temple filler. I was like, okay, can you do 1 Sculptra? Because that will take longer, but you will fill your temples a little
That's
better.
the biggest thing with Sculptra is,
it does
takes
great.
long. But you got to have the right patient for it. Sometimes I will coach these patients, and then based off their answers, if I don't like their answers, they're not getting Sculptra for me. They're not going to be happy. I mean, I had a patient the other day. She wasn't mad, but she was just like, it's only been like 4 or 5 weeks. I think she's like, and I went through the spiel with her, and she's been my patient for a long time, so I love her to death. But she was not concerned, but she texted me. She's like, hey, when am I going to see the results? This, that, and the third. Even though I told her, but mentally she's still like, I just spent, whatever, $1,500 on this, and I don't see anything, right?
Yeah,
so I always tell her, Sculptra, to her and everyone, Sculptra is a long game. 6 to 8 weeks is not even what I tell patients. I tell them 3 to 4 months.
4 to 6 months is
absolutely. And by then, you're not even gonna sometimes you don't see
it'll just be morphing.
Morphing. And then I always tell them, you'll notice
texture
it in
of the
pictures.
skin.
You'll notice in pictures when sometimes I've had a patient, they're like, I saw a picture of me the other day and I was like glowing. And I'm like, yeah, because we did your Sculptra like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened.
Sculptra I only do if you don't need volume.
I would agree with that.
If you need volume, if you don't need volume and we're just kind of working on skin texture, skin laxity, I'll pull my Sculptra as long as you're not on a GLP-1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, deep Sculptra, back of cheek, back of temple, you get some good volume, not instantly.
Correct. But if you need volume, I'm pulling my hyperdilute Radiesse. Or if you've lost weight and you're on a GLP-1 still, I will do hyperdilute Radiesse. And to kind of back up on why I choose yes or no versus when somebody's on a GLP-1, Sculptra causes an inflammatory response. When you're on a GLP-1, it decreases the inflammation in your body. So you're kind of working against your Sculptra, right? But most of my patients who are coming in and they are on a GLP-1, they've lost a lot of volume in your face. So naturally, I'm going to pull the hyperdilute Radiesse. You're going to get a little bit more volumization while still tightening your skin. And these are things as I'm doing during your weight loss journey. I'm not waiting until you've lost all your weight and then we're playing catch up,
Because I get that asked a lot, and I kind of have the same spiel, but I relate it back to actively losing weight versus not. There was a recent study showing Sculptra struggled with that too, in the sense of if you're dropping 10 pounds a month or more, or I think it was 8, you are in, like you said, an inflammatory changes are happening, and that reduces the efficacy a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot. I think the number was under 30%, but that's a lot.
Still,
You're buying
for how much money
how much money you're spending on Sculptra. You want it to work 100%.
Whereas Radiesse doesn't have that.
Correct. Because Radiesse doesn't cause inflammation. So it's okay for that.
It's funny you say you don't wait for weight loss. That's kind of been my angle in terms of filling a face. So I'm trying to get your thoughts on it.
Let's say if the patient has to lose 50 pounds, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to wait until, obviously right now at the 50 pounds heavier, I'm going to say let's hold off a little bit.
I would start with laser for those.
So then I'm like, once you start losing about 10 to 15 pounds, then we do like a little bit of hyperdilute Radiesse. Then you lose a little bit more, we add a little bit more, but not at the beginning.
Okay, that's because I was like, I want to get your thoughts because That's always been my
but I'm not
approach.
waiting until
But
you
I don't
lose
like
all 50
that approach
pounds.
because I want that patient to be happy too. But at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe I can
But why
give
not
them a
fill their
little bit of
piggy bank
icing.
up before they even start losing weight? Like I treat
Because
them
you're playing
starting.
catch up.
With hyperdilate radius, I would. And I love doing that. I don't do a ton until they're at least, if you have 50 pounds to lose, I'm probably not touching your face until you've at least lost 20, in my opinion.
But what's the rationale behind that?
So your fat pads of the face are moving. And so I do a lot of periosteal radius and not necessarily hyperdilute. I need to start.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But I love the hyperdilute throughout the face. I guess I haven't really, because I do lasers so much and skincare while they're doing their weight loss journey to get them through, I don't really start the hyperdilate radius or periosteal filler until they're at least 20 pounds down in their journey.
But everybody's weight loss is different.
Yeah,
so I don't put a number on things.
Yeah, that's
because
good, yeah.
somebody can lose 20 pounds and their face looks bomb and they don't need that volumization. But somebody can lose 20 pounds and they look completely gaunt. So I don't
That's
like
why
to
I don't
put
like
a number.
starting until they've started because your facial structure is going to change.
Yes.
So I need to know what it's going to do.
So for me, when you are at least 25% down of your weight goal, we are already starting on injectables.
That's smart. No, that's good.
Yes, because then we're kind of, but yes, lasers and skincare is phenomenal, but it doesn't replace volume.
Absolutely.
It doesn't replace collagen, which is why I tell them.
Well, if you're doing a CO2 laser, well, especially the helix specifically, you are getting thermal injury.
You are. It's just not
so
lasting as long as a biostimulator. You're getting a few weeks of that stimulation. Whereas if you start someone who's saying, my goal is 40 pounds, I immediately want to, because you're already starting at a deficit. You're in your 30s or 40s. So you're already volume lost to a certain degree. And hyperdilute doesn't leave remnants. This isn't a volumizer. This is a stimulator.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how much you dilute
I do what I call a radius wash if someone wants the beginning. I do one on each side of their lower face just to keep them supported so that they don't create preventative versus
every
correction.
Patient's different, right? Like if you have the patient who does hold a lot of weight in their face, which I get a lot of those, I'm not doing anything except for laser and skincare on you. I don't want you to feel worse about your face. You know,
I agree with that. I love lasers.
Yeah, I love laser. But yeah, so I definitely think we all have good approaches to it.
It's just a TBD.
It's also patient,
TBD, guys.
It's also patient dependent. I could have a patient in my chair that I'm like, well, you're going to lose 40 pounds, but you're already gaunt in the face, right?
And I tell my patients that this is a guideline. This doesn't mean that we are doing this exactly. I will change your plan every time I see you because I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? That looks pretty good. We don't need to do that yet. Let's reevaluate in like the 6 weeks, you know, and then reassess. And then I'll do a virtual follow-up. Hey, text me your pictures. Let me see. Okay, yes, this is time. Let's go ahead and get on top of this and do X, Y, Z.
And we have to function that way. Patients don't want to feel like this is a cookie cutter plan and everyone's a little different. I think most weight loss patients come to me already depleted. They're already in their, they need it already.
Yeah.
So why not? But if they're kind of just more have generalized laxity, let's hit them with Moxie or CO2 or like whatever and tighten them up a little bit. Yeah. It's very complicated. And I think you just have to have a good team member. Just like a cardiac patient wouldn't go under the same treatment plan as their brother who has a cardiac issue. He's going to go based on his own and his own labs.
And the provider of you telling them the plan. So I definitely think anytime a patient comes in our chair asking like, well, can I do this if I still want a facelift? I love your question of do you plan on getting it within the next year?
I always ask that first.
Yeah. So
There's
I think it's
6 ways to skin a cat. We all can do it, right?
But don't skin a cat.
Yeah, but don't skin a cat. It's horrible.
Well, I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Anytime you guys want to message us your inquiries or any weird stories or cool stories, just DM us or email us.
See you next time.
Bye.